Hey guys, it's Chris from Out West with Chris on behalf of the KastKing channel for part 2 of setting up your fly line. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, you might want to watch that first, so go check that out and then come right back. Before we get started, just to recap a few things. When you're fly fishing, you're casting the line. You're not casting the lure, you're not casting that fly. It's basically just along for the ride. And that's why it's important to create a balanced system. Now we talked about a balanced system in the first video. That just means you have a certain weight rod, a certain weight reel, and a certain weight line, and they should all match. In my case, I have an 8-weight rod, a 7/8 reel, and an 8-weight sinking tip line. So in the last video, we talked about how to attach the backing and a couple tips and that type of stuff on your backing. Now we're gonna go ahead and chat about how to attach the fly line to the backing. And we'll talk about leader material and all that good stuff as well. So let's just get after it. Okay, so now we're gonna go about the process of attaching our fly line to the backing. And a lot of your newer fly lines come with these really fancy welded loops. Let me get the end I want to work with first. They come with these really fancy welded loops where you can tie knots straight to the loop and stuff like that. I'm actually going to cut that off and demonstrate just for some of us who might not have the welded loop. And you can tie a couple of different knots to attach your backing. The blood knot or nail knot sometimes. I prefer the Albright knot. So we're gonna tie on an Albright knot real quick. Before we get going too far, I do wanna mention that beginning in December of this year, 2017, KastKing's gonna start rolling out a complete line of fly fishing affordable, but high quality products, including all types of fly lines, sinking and floating. You're gonna get leaders, tippets, and a bunch of different innovative fly fishing products such as the industry's first telescopic travel fly rod. It's never been done before. KastKing is gonna do it. That is pretty amazing if you ask me. KastKing also has other new fly fishing products and accessories in development that will be out at a later date. KastKing will be at the fly fishing shows in Denver and Edison, New Jersey in January with many of these new fly fishing products. So if you're around those areas and you're into fly fishing, or you think you might want to get into it and you need an affordable route into the sport of fly fishing, check out those shows and KastKing will be there. So let's get started tying this Albright knot. All right, so here's how we're gonna go about tying the Albright knot. We're gonna kind of take our lines and cross them. This one is gonna come back under. The backing line is gonna come up. We're gonna kind of pinch it right here because once we get there, we're gonna start a series of wraps back towards the loop. We're gonna start wrapping back around both of the lines. We need to make about 6 wraps. Ooh, that one came undone. You want these wraps to be kind of on top of each other. We'll tighten them up in a moment. And then once you get to your last wrap, you're going to pass it back through the loop. And then you'll start to pull tight. And you want to pull pretty gently and slowly. Kind of push some of this back in there together because it's all got to jam up nice and low profile. We're starting to get it right there. Get it a little bit tighter. Pull, 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 pull. Pull your tag lines. Okay, that's pretty tight right there. That is the finished product. That is the Albright knot. So now we're going to trim our tags, and I like to leave a little bit of room on the backing tag. You're probably never going to see your backing unless you get really lucky and get into a huge fish. But I'm going to keep a little bit of the tag out on the backing, and then on the fly line, we're going to cut it as close as we can. And what this allows is a pretty low profile but strong knot, nice and strong. It's all in line. so there isn't a kink, or it's not gonna wanna come out at an angle. It's gonna be nice and straight. So this is a pretty good knot for attaching your backing onto your fly line. And I'm gonna clean that up a little bit and we'll get winding on this fly line. All right, so I have my line, my fly line on the reel now. I actually am gonna keep this welded loop that is on this end, the working end of the fly line. I'm gonna keep it because the method of fishing I'm gonna use, I'm probably gonna be retying leaders, like 7-foot sections, fairly frequently. So I'm just gonna keep this in. The way that you can tie these on pretty quickly is using a perfection loop. So I'm gonna get my fluorocoat, and this is gonna be almost impossible to see because of the fluorocoat and the lighting right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it off of camera. What you're gonna do to make your perfection loop is you're gonna loop around and behind, kind of like so, and then you're gonna loop again, kind of a bigger loop around and behind as well. Now this loop needs to stay intact. This loop can kind of come forward a little bit, and you see that passes through there but not through there. Once you have that, you push that other loop through, tighten everything up, and you have a perfection loop. Now I'm sure there are some really detailed perfection loop tutorials on the KastKing channel, so be sure to check those out. Cut our tag, and we're left with a loop that we can work with. What I did is I went in and I put the perfection loop through that welded loop, ran the line for my leader material right here, back through the loop, back through its own loop, and pulled it tight. And I am left with a nice inline connection, line-to-line connection. It's gonna lay down really straight on the water. It's not going to want to go cockeyed or anything. It's going to go through the guides fairly well. So it's a good option if you're going to keep this welded loop on your line. For my case, where I'm not using a tapered leader like I've mentioned numerous times already, I can tie on a new leader once I get to a length that I'm no longer happy with. So now we need to talk about tying on your flies. And the flies I'm going to be using are a lot of weighted flies, like Clousers, a couple of other flies that have like a lead weighted eye, like some craw imitations, and the knot that I'm going to use is the Rapala knot. So basically what you're left with after you've tied all of this on, we're going to tie it on, reel up our leader material. What you're left with is a complete system, a complete balanced system on the Katmai reel. And by balanced I mean it's all 8-weight materials, so an 8-weight reel, 8-weight rod, 8-weight fly line. Alright guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Don't let the setup of your fly line, of your system, be something that intimidates you and scares you away from getting into fly fishing. Fly fishing is a fun sport. It takes a lot of practice. In fact, I encourage you, go to a local park, tie on a practice fly, and just practice casting. Maybe you need to take a class, maybe it's something, watch some videos on technique, and just practice. That way, when you get out there to hit the water, you have some comfort level to where you're not getting frustrated. If you have any questions or comments, leave that in the comment section down below. Click that thumbs up button, everybody. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be coming out with more fly fishing action on the KastKing channel. So stay tuned, and stay tuned for the new releases that KastKing is going to have in fly fishing, reels, rods, and line, and just all of the other innovative products that KastKing is putting out there. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for getting out west with Chris.